everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca. I'm a spiritual medium and animal communicator. If you are more interested in my animal communication work, please visit my other YouTube channel, The Words of the Wild. Today I'm going to be talking to you about AI, artificial intelligence. It's something that I have had quite strong feelings about myself for a while. And I had a moment over the weekend where it was almost like my whole kind of perception shifted, and I was shown a different way of looking at it. So I wanted to share it with you today for anyone that is apprehensive about AI, or someone, if you're not really that keen on it. So with AI, first thing I want to say is it is becoming more sophisticated. You obviously have, the ability for things such as deep fakes and videos where it will appear like people who are real people are actually performing actions or speaking and saying certain things. That is one aspect that I don't like of it. I think that in the wrong hands, it can be open to be used for deception, for nefarious reasons. So that's the main reason that I don't really like it. But really, we think about AI and robots. We're already existing with robots. We have so many machines that help us do our day-to-day work. Even now, utilizing the computer, a camera, a microphone, they're all robots, really. They all have machine parts, and they are all working with us to enhance our daily lives. So that was one thing that I kind of was shown over the weekend, thinking that actually it's not some big takeover. These things are already existing, just perhaps in a different form. We are perhaps more used to seeing movies and TV shows where you have AI robots that take on a more humanoid form, and in many of these movies they suddenly they have developed consciousness, and they can take over humanity. I honestly do not feel, from a spiritual perspective, I do not feel that that is ever going to be the case, because no matter how sophisticated machines become, they will only ever be as good as the humans that program them. And I don't believe that you can take that element of human consciousness, the very fabric of our being, the connection that we have to source. You cannot replicate that. It is something that is unique to each of us. It exists within life force. It is part of nature, part of creation, and that cannot be it cannot be manipulated and replicated in a synthetic form, no matter how hard we try. I've spoken previously on my other channel about the superiority complex that humanity has, where we believe that we are, the most amazing creation upon the earth, and that we are the be all and end all, and everything and everyone should bow down to us. But actually, that's not the case at all. We have a lot to learn in many aspects, and I don't think that we will ever be that clever that we will be given infinite power where we can make machines that will hold human consciousness. I really don't think that is something that we have to worry about on both a personal and spiritual level. And as I said, I am someone that was very anti-artificial intelligence up until this past weekend, where I had been living in that kind of the thought process and the possibility of that will they ever become good enough that they can take away from our uniqueness and our individuality and the very essence of what human beings are. And I don't feel that that is the case. I would say that, as I mentioned just now, that we already have a lot of interaction and assistance from machines in our day-to-day life. They are possibly, they're able to help us to expand the skills that we already have, to expand our knowledge. So, for example, computers, the internet, they massively expand our knowledge. They can be really helpful tools. Again, with anything, they can be open to manipulation. So it comes back to really learning about ourselves on a deeper level, and using discernment to know when things are presented as real, and actually they are not. One thing I do really enjoy about AI, and there's quite a few different channels, and like with Instagram, I see a lot on Instagram accounts that are very openly telling you they are AI, but they are creating beautiful, magical fantasy things, really uplifting things for people to be able to, almost like a visual storybook is how I would describe it, for people to kind of step away from the humdrum of everyday life and the stresses that we feel, and to immerse yourselves in these beautiful magical lands that have been created. That's one aspect that I really do love, because I think it connects us back to our inner child, to our imagination, and it also connects us more into those loving and positive emotions which we so greatly need at this time. So it just really is interesting to me that I've been so kind of like, I hate AI, don't like AI, don't see an AI future. And then I was almost, shown, take a step back, look at where we're already coexisting with machines and they're assisting us, but also look at areas where, you might benefit from them. It's not all doom and gloom and terrifying and they're going to take over the world. There's actually elements to that which is it's actually, it could be quite beautiful. It could be a beautiful thing. Now, with anything, it can be open to manipulation, as I have said, but this is where we really have to start working on trusting our intuition, trusting that innate sense that we were born with, of knowing and discerning, and to really focus on that. So it's a push as well. It's a push to ourselves to get to know ourselves better and to understand more about ourselves and our place in the world. And I just think that actually, where there is still a lot of fear mongering around, the introduction of AI, there are some things that I don't like, and I don't feel at the moment I would want to embrace. I don't like some of the things. I think sometimes with AI, it can cause people to become incredibly lazy. Things such as a chat GPT, for an example, and this isn't like an attack on chat GPT, it's just using them as an example, where people can get it to write an essay for them, or to write a letter. Yes, it's quicker, it's giving us more freedom because it's cutting down the time it takes us to do things, but it's also taking away our personal touch and our uniqueness in that aspect. There's something really special about being able to create something yourself, and to know that you did that perhaps you had to learn new skills along the way, just taking pride in something that you created and knowing that you've put something out there that was created by you. So I mean, there are some people that they'll love the ease of it, but I do think that having a lot of automated things is just dumbing us down, and it's making us incredibly lazy. And we're already quite lazy. We already, humans already look to finding shortcuts, and we look to other people to come up with answers and ideas and to fix problems for us. One example I would use is when I changed my car. I'd gone from having a really old car to having a car that was not really new, but it was 10 years newer than the car I'd had. And just the amount of technology in this car was just baffling to me. I don't have to think about putting my lights on. I don't have to think about putting my windshield wipers on. There are buttons for that to turn it on automatically, and I really don't like it because it makes me feel lazy. And then I think if I'm switching off to thinking about those things that need to be done, I could potentially be switching off to other things, paying attention when I'm driving. And I know not everyone will have that view. Some people love it. You can kind of just get in and go. But I used to quite like the routine of going through the checks of, is this on? Is that correct? Have I checked this? I used to quite like that. It was kind of part of my experience of driving, and I enjoyed it. And I do worry that in some aspects we are dumbing ourselves down, And in some ways, like I said about the internet being very beneficial to us, obviously everything I talk about is always about balance. We have the other side of it where it's made us incredibly lazy. We don't need to learn anything now. We don't have to retain as much information, because when someone asks us a question, or say we want to fix something or cook something from scratch, we just type it in. We type it into the internet, search for recipes containing this, or how do I fix this? And the answers are instant. We don't have to learn. We don't have to retain information in the ways that we used to. And while that can be beneficial, I think we do have to find a balance so that we don't dumb ourselves down and become lazy. Because I do think that it's that saying of like, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I think that can and will down the line contribute to some more of the things we see with the degeneration of not only with like perhaps like vision and things like that, because we're not reading, we're not exercising those muscles, we're just quickly looking at things on screens, and we're kind of tiring our eyes rather than using them fully for the things they were designed for. But I also think it will contribute to more kind of problems with degeneration of the brain and the mind, because we aren't using those aspects. And like I said, it's that thing of like, if you don't use it, you lose it. So we need to just be embracing these things, but where do they fit in? Do they detract from who we are at our core? Can they be utilized in addition to our own skills? Everything that we experience in life should be enhancing our experience and enhancing us, helping us to learn and to grow. That's the whole purpose of us being here, is to fulfill our soul contract and to learn our lessons and to gain more knowledge. So if we're kind of giving away our power to not only machines, but also to other people, and relying on other people to always drip feed those things to us, we're not fully immersed in the experience of living. We aren't actually learning all the things we came here for. So once again, it is all about balance. We can embrace these new technologies, we can learn about them, but they shouldn't detract from who we are. They should be an addition. It's a relationship, and being shown it's like a relationship. When you get into a relationship with another person, be it a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a partnership for work, you want to bring your skills together, your knowledge together. You want to enhance each other's life and each other's experience, so that you're both becoming successful and achieving greatness in life. So you need to look at that as well with things like AI. Is it enhancing my life? It's a relationship. Everything that we interact with is a form of a relationship. It's not just with other humans, it's with the things that we also interact with in our lives. So I don't know a great deal about AI. It does, in one sense, fascinate me, but I'm also very aware on an energy level and a spiritual level. I'm very aware of its potential to, like I said, dumb us down and cause harm if it is in the wrong hands. But that's the same with anything. It's really on us to be using discernment, to be mindful of the ways in which that we are using things. Don't just think that because it's a machine it doesn't have a potential for harm. It's like anything. Anything can have a potential for harm. It just depends on how you use it. So I wanted to share that with you today, because I'm quite a lot of people I've spoken to, and I'm interested in the wider community. Some people are all for AI, they love it. And I think a lot of that is the younger generation, because they've grown up with technology. Like, that's all they've ever known. I am one of the last generations that remember what it was like before technology. So people older than me obviously do, but people younger than me, I think there's one generation or slightly under that. I'm thinking about family members I have who are slightly younger, but I know like much younger nephews and nieces, they only ever knew technology. So so I am really the last generation, and a couple of years either side of my age. are the last generation to remember what it was like before we had technology and when things were more difficult. You know, we had when mobile phones first came out, for example, we had really simple versions of mobile phones. You couldn't go on the internet with them. You couldn't, you know, you were limited on the number of characters that you could type out in a text message. You only had space to store, I think it was like 5 photos, and they were, you know, really poor quality. Now we literally have our whole life and our whole world in the palm of our hands. Wherever you are, you can access anything. You can know where your friends are. You can check your emails. You can do your business. You can look at a map. You can check out restaurants on the other side of the world. You know, it's amazing. But I always say we are more connected now than we have ever been, but we are more disconnected than we've ever been. We're so disconnected from ourselves. We're so disconnected from each other. And I think there is a danger that we become dumbed down and lazier because of it. So it's just about being mindful. But I'd be interested to know what other people think, if you've kind of found this middle way that I've recently discovered of seeing the balance that is possible to achieve with the integration of AI into our lives, or whether you are in one camp or another. You still firmly hate AI, or you're really excited about the possibilities that it brings with it. I would love to know. So yeah, just really sharing some thoughts and realizations that I've had in my own life and my own you know, the part of my journey that I'm on at the moment, which kind of surprised me. Actually, I surprised myself when I started thinking this way, and it came quite out of the blue. I can't even remember what it was that I was doing or interacting with at the time, when it literally felt like something shifted, and I just was like on the opposite side, and I could see this other possibility. So yeah, do let me know in the comments if what your thoughts are, and if you have perhaps also had a different realization moment about the integration with AI. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I will speak to you in another video. Thank you. Take care.